Hey, Leilani with The Magical Solution here. So, I've been getting a lot of questions around this concept that I've been bringing up lately, which is spiritual autonomy, spiritual sovereignty, and how, I consider myself a spirit activist, right? You know, an advocate for spirit. And I figured, you know what, let's get some clarity, right? So what do I mean by all of this stuff? Because right now it's language. It's just, Leilani's throwing big words out there, right? But everything stems back, and this is something that all of my students will attest to. Everything stems back to spiritual anatomy. The makeup, the biology of our spirits, and how we interact with that biology, how we interact with the spiritual fluids. And this is no different. So when I speak about spiritual autonomy, spiritual sovereignty, what I am discussing is a very specific part of our spiritual anatomy, okay? So let's break it down. So, we have several bodies. We have several systems that make up both our physical body and our spiritual body. These systems reflect each other, right? So, how you interact with your spinal cord, how you interact with your blood, how you interact with your air, the breath that you take, all that is reflective of your spiritual anatomy, because those same systems exist in there too. It's a different makeup. And there is a brain, blood, spiritual fluid barrier, if you will, that divides these two things, but that we can cross, you know, where the physical can affect the spiritual and the spiritual can affect the physical. Okay, you got all that. That is like the dumbed down version of a very intense class that I teach. All right? So now that you understand that, one of the bodies, one of the systems that makes up our spiritual bodies is the spirit, right? We have a spirit, we have a soul, right? The tough part about talking about the soul within this concept of spiritual sovereignty, spiritual autonomy, is that the soul, by its innate nature, is not autonomous. It's not sovereign. The soul is the collective. It is the thing that connects all of us, and it is the thing that connects us to God. It is God that exists within us, right? So by its very essence, it is a unified field. By its very essence, it cannot have autonomy. It cannot be sovereign. But the spirit body can. The spirit body is the animating force, the animating expression of the God soul that exists within you. And that expression, okay, is what informs your intelligence, your emotions, your personality, your likes, your dislikes, your destiny, you know, how your body grows and functions and adapts and all that, okay? That has sovereignty. That has autonomy. That is what I seek to acknowledge as first person, right? So when I say spirit first, that is what I'm talking about. The animating force that is within all of us, that is a unique, diverse expression of that unified conscious field, of that soul energy of God, okay? It is diverse. It is unique. There is no other spirit on this planet like your spirit. You're a fucking snowflake. You know what I'm saying? And so again, by its very nature, we as a collective, although we are supposed to be unified in our God selves, we also must celebrate our unique, diverse, autonomous spirit. And so these two, what we would think would be conflicting forces or conflicting agendas, is actually not. It's not conflicting at all. Because by being spirit-centered, by being an advocate of spirit and putting spirit first, spirit is led by soul. Spirit informs soul. And then soul leads spirit. Okay? And so by educating the spirit, by helping the spirit to identify with the highest version of itself, okay, by elevating spirit, we are becoming more and more connected to soul, more and more connected to God, more and more unified. So through our differences, through our diversity, and through the elevation thereof, we are actually unifying, right? So this is a very scary concept for a lot of people, this idea of unification, homogenization, syncretization, absorption. All these concepts are really, really scary for people because they feel like by unifying that they're going to lose their uniqueness. They feel that becoming part of the collective, it's going to, what do you call it? I don't have the right words for it, but essentially, destroy legacies, traditions, cultures, languages, things like that. And what I'm saying as a spirit advocate and as someone who understands spiritual anatomy is that it's not that. If anything, the diversity, the work that we are doing to make our interactions more spirit-centered, if anything, that is what gives light. That is what gives excitement. That is what God and the soul force that lives inside us, that's what it loves. That's what it was here for. That's why it decided to incarnate. The curiosity to know itself through the infinite expressions of all living things in the multiverse that is discoverable and yet to be discovered is the reason for the season. And so by exploring our differences, by encouraging and celebrating our differences, we are doing God's work. So that's really what my point of view is with regards to autonomy and sovereignty with the spirit. And I hope that makes sense to people. And I hope that it brings comfort to people who are having a hard time with this idea. And if you have any more questions, or if you want to make your own videos with your own thoughts, I would love to hear it. Thanks for watching. Again, my name is Leilani. This is The Magical Solution, and this is how we grow.